Good morning, Bhargav. Today is Tuesday, November 14th, and here's the heads up brief for today. Today's production to our clients consisted of a total of 68 issues. In East Asia Pacific, we covered 36 issues. In South Asia, 20 issues, and 12 issues in the EMEA region. I will be briefing you on the major issues of today's production.
Hey, Bassel, thank you. Let's look at the major issues today, please.
Sure. In East Asia Pacific, I'll be covering the top two of the 36 issues. In Myanmar, the Arakan Army, which is an ethnic armed organization, seized security posts in Rathudang and Minbia townships in Rakhine State yesterday. The Brotherhood Alliance seized control over a tactical command base in Konglong, northern Shan State, last week. The base lies along the major trade route between China and Myanmar. Multiple military vehicles, weapons, and supplies were confiscated from the base. The explanation of attack fronts by the EAOs, which are the ethnic armed organization, pose a significant concern for the government, as this spreads their resources thin across multiple theaters of conflict. We covered this as a major development in Southeast Asia today.
Yes, we need to recognize that the ethnic armed organizations are becoming more and more belligerent, and the civil war is not going too well for the military. So let's track how the ethnic armed organizations maneuver around the military and how the civil war evolves from now on. Yes, so it needs to be recognized that the ethnic armed organizations are giving a hard time to the military, and it is not going too well for the military across the board. And Arakan Army is one of those overly belligerent EAOs, which military has a tough time tackling. And they also faced accusations of genocide when they operated in Arakan region, when they caused the Rohingya genocidal issue across the borders with India as well as Bangladesh. So let's track how the civil war evolves and EAOs, how they are targeting the military as well, and keep the clients updated. Thank you.
Sure, Bhargav. In Timor-Leste, a village chief's house was burned by unidentified miscreants in the Baharawain area of Vikuk today. Security measures have been increased in the area. Local authorities have opened an investigation to capture the perpetrators. The attack comes a day after village chief elections were held across the country. So the election is likely the trigger point for the attack, since MAGs are closely linked to various parties and leaders on local and national levels. We released an APAC advisory on this today.
All right, thank you.
In South Asia, I'll be covering the top two of the 20 issues. In Bangladesh, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party has announced a 48-hour nationwide blockade from tomorrow. The blockade will be organized to protest against the Awami League-led government. The BNP will also urge the government to release detained party leaders and functionaries. The Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami has also announced a similar 48-hour blockade across the country from tomorrow. Road and rail travel in the country will be affected during the blockade. We covered this as a major development in South Asia today.
Yes, it needs to be questioned to what extent such nationwide blockade will help the opposition parties. The leadership is actually in tatters. I'm not taking side of the incumbent Awami League government. However, they need to reflect on how effective this would be. But on the flip side, this may actually help them mobilize support by being visible and being proactive against the government. Of course, the incumbent government has ensured a greater degree of stability in the last 15 years, but there is a greater sense of anti-incumbency in the country, and that's being reflected in nationwide blockades and protests. Thank you.
In Sri Lanka, President Ranil presented the budget for the year 2024, which includes several key initiatives in the parliament yesterday. Notable measures include a substantial increase in the cost of living allowance for public sector employees, a boost to public pensions, and the introduction of a distress loan facility for public servants. The budget also focuses on supporting small and medium enterprises, urban home ownership, and housing development in the estate sector.
All right. Thank you. Please advise the team to monitor the economic situation in the country. We'll have to see how the initiatives will have an impact on the economy on the ground. These are fairly ambitious schemes, but what matters is how they will be used by the people on the ground.
Sure, Bhargav. In EMEA, I'll be covering the top two of the 12 issues. Russia, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov yesterday criticized Poland's decision to deploy a tank battalion on the border with Belarus. Peskov said that this is another step towards escalation between the West and Russia. The deployment aligns with broader NATO strategies to deter and encircle Russia in the Eastern European region. Belarusian authorities could potentially respond by deploying troops and military equipment along its border with Poland. We conveyed this to our clients via an advisory message today.
Yes, so this is very much in line with their belligerent stance towards Russia, without a clear vision as to what they want to achieve from this. Thank you.
Here's also an update on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. At least 11,300 Palestinians and 1,200 Israelis have died. Approximately 26,000 Palestinians and 3,500 Israelis have been injured. Israeli soldiers entered the Hamas-controlled parliamentary building in Gaza last night. Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant has claimed that Hamas has lost control of the Gaza Strip. The chief of staff of the IDF, Herzi Halevi, maintains that the military has action plans for northern Israel due to the threat posed by Hezbollah. Prime Minister Netanyahu has remarked that Hezbollah is playing with fire and that its attacks will be met with much stronger fire. The war will continue in the coming days, with Israel reiterating its position against a ceasefire. We also conveyed this to our clients via an advisory message today.
Thank you, Bassel. Nothing further from my end.
Thank you, Bhargav.